much for tuning in to Dalsan TV English News, Somalia's premier TV station. My name is Abdrazak Ali, and we have a lot lined up for you on this day of 28th October 2022. But first, let's have a look at the highlights. Somalia has asked the US to step up drone airstrikes against Al-Shabaab militants in Somalia. Somali government troops and Southwest State Regional Security Forces have begun arriving in the El Barde district of Bakol region as part of anti-Al-Shabaab operation. Africa's top health body has moved to reassure people that the Ebola outbreak in Uganda is not getting out of hand. Good evening and welcome back. The Biden administration is weighing a request by Somalia that the United States loosen restrictions on its military drones targeting Al-Shabaab militants in the troubled Horn of Africa nation. The Biden administration is weighing a request by Somalia that the United States loosen restrictions on its military drones targeting Al-Shabaab in the troubled Horn of Africa nation. The request comes as the new Somali administration has launched an offensive against Al-Shabaab, with several local clan militias joining the central government's fight. President Biden also recently redeployed 450 US troops to Somalia, reversing former President Donald Trump's abrupt withdrawal in January 2021. But the Somali government wants US military operators to be able to attack groups of Al-Shabaab militants who might pose a threat to Somali forces, even if they are not firing upon them at the moment. The officials, such a move would further escalate American involvement in the long-running counterterrorism war. In May, Somalia elected new president, Dr. Hassan Sheikh Mohamud, who also held the role from 2012 to 2017. Since returning to office, he has made pushing back Al-Shabaab a top priority. He has ordered Somalia's fledgling national army to go on the offensive in the countryside. He is planning for the delivery of services to stabilize areas that have been newly liberated and is trying to forge stronger partnership with both clan leaders and international allies. At the same time, local clan militias in the Hiran region of Hirshabelle state in central Somalia are fighting Al-Shabaab fiercely after turning against them over their heavy-handed rule and taxation. The Somali government has been resupplying the militias with ammunition and other aid. Some US officials are hoping that the long-troubled country may be turning a corner. Others are more skeptical that Mr. Mohamud will be able to sustain the current honeymoon period. As one official described it, given Somalia's history of dysfunction, the limited capacity of its central government, the extraordinary complexities of its clan dynamics, and a drought-driven famine. Somalia is now the center of US counterterrorism drone war. The military has justified most of its airstrikes there as the collective self-defense of Somali partner forces, who have sometimes needing bowling out as they stepped up offensive against the Al-Shabaab. Could be the Somali and US officials hope the movement could be start of broader clan uprising against Al-Shabaab, which gained strength in recent years amid widespread grievances with the government over corruption. The Somali government troops and Southwest Regional Forces have arrived in El Barde district of Bakol region as part of anti-Al-Shabaab operation.
Somali government troops and Southwest State Regional Security Forces have begun arriving in El Barde district of the Bakol region as part of an anti-Al-Shabaab operation. Somali government troops and Southwest State Regional Securing Forces have begun arriving in El Barde district of the Bakol region as part of an anti-Al-Shabaab operation. The governor of Bakol, Mohammed Abdi Tol, welcomed the troops who arrived from Baidoa. Military planners said the goal is to free the supply lines in Bakol region's El Barde district, which Al-Shabaab has controlled for nearly a decade. The soldiers are led by Muhammad Ali Hassan Mane, the commander of the SNA's 175th Infantry Regiment of the 9th Battalion. The Somali government partnered with the regional militia to launch an offensive against Al-Shabaab in central Somalia. On Tuesday, government security forces in Middle Shabelle carried out an operation that killed 17 suspected Al-Shabaab militants, including ringleaders. The African Union Transition Mission in Somalia, ATMIS, has honored the outgoing Ugandan soldiers for their contribution to peace and stability efforts in the country. The Uganda ATMIS contingent commander Keith Katungi lauded the outgoing battle group for conducting offensive operations against Al-Shabaab terrorists and securing parliamentary and presidential elections, as well as their overall contribution to peace and stability efforts. It was important for us to look inward and ensure that the political transition and election period was smooth, Katungi said in a statement issued in Mogadishu, the capital of Somalia. The medals and certificates were awarded to a group of officers from the Uganda Battle Group 33 who has completed a one-year tour of duty in Somalia under ATMIS. ATMIS Deputy Force Commander in charge of operations and plans William Kitsao Shume lauded the outgoing troops for ensuring a safer and stable Somalia. During their tour of duty, the battle group personnel was stationed at military bases in Albiska, Albao, Lafore and Lantabur located in southern Somalia. The troops also secured key government installations in Mogadishu, including the Presidential Palace, Mogadishu Seaport, the Federal Parliament, and the ATMIS base camp. According to ATMIS, the outgoing troops to be replaced by a new Uganda battle group have maintained cordial relations with the local Somali communities and secured routes that enable the safe movement of people and goods along the main supply routes.
Elsewhere, Africa's top health body has moved to reassure people that the Ebola outbreak in Uganda is not getting out of hand. Ahmed Ogwala Ouma, the acting head of Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, told journalists that a successful contact sharing campaign was keeping spread under control. Africa's top health body has moved to reassure people that the Ebola outbreak in Uganda is not getting out of hand. Ahmed Ogwala Ouma, the acting head of the Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, told journalists that a successful contact tracing campaign was keeping the spread under control. Since the outbreak began in September, Uganda's health ministry has recorded 109 cases and 30 deaths. On Wednesday, it was reported that 6 children in the same family in the capital, Kampala, had contracted Ebola. Viruses can spread faster in densely populated areas, and this particular strain of Ebola, called the Sudan strain, has no vaccine yet. Earlier this month, the districts at the epicenter of this outbreak, Mubende and Kasanda, were put under quarantine.